After more than a decade in power, President Nicolás Maduro began a new 6-year term on January 10, 2025, following elections widely criticized for irregularities and lacking independent verification. Domestic opposition and many foreign governments rejected the results, deepening Venezuela's political crisis. Before we dive into the main story, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the bell notification button for more interesting video like this. Throughout 2025, tensions with the United States escalated, driven by allegations from Washington that Maduro's government was deeply involved in drug trafficking, sanctions evasion, and repression of civil liberties. U.S. courts had unsealed criminal indictments against Maduro and his inner circle, including his wife, Cilia Flores, for narcotics and narco-terrorism offenses dating back years. In the early hours of January 3, 2026, the United States launched a large-scale military operation across northern Venezuela, codenamed Operation Absolute Resolve. Starting around 2:01 local time, U.S. air power and special forces struck Venezuelan military infrastructure and penetrated defenses around Caracas. More than 150 aircraft, including bombers, fighters, electronic warfare jets, and helicopters, supported elite ground units such as the U.S. Army's Delta Force during the raid. In a daring and highly controversial maneuver, U.S. forces captured President Maduro and his wife Cilia Flores, swiftly transporting them first to a U.S. naval vessel off the coast and then to New York City to face the long-standing federal charges. Venezuelan officials reported dozens of deaths, including at least 24 security officers and more Cuban personnel, with civilian casualties also reported, prompting Venezuela's Attorney General to decry the operation as a war crime. The U.S. administration defended the action as an extension of law enforcement backed by military power and a necessary step to crack down on narcotics trafficking and corruption. The capture of Maduro marked one of the most extraordinary escalations in U.S. foreign policy in decades, a sitting head of state forcibly taken from his capital without an international mandate. At a press event, President Donald Trump framed the operation as a stand against transnational crime and corruption, asserting the U.S. had the authority to act in defense of its citizens and global security. Alongside this, Trump declared that the U.S. would temporarily run Venezuela, to ensure stability and oversee a transitional period including the management of Venezuela's vast oil resources and infrastructure. Washington emphasized Maduro's federal indictment and charges for cocaine distribution conspiracies and alleged narcoterrorism. Maduro and Flores later appeared in a Manhattan federal court on January 5, 2026, where they pleaded not guilty to the charges and awaited further hearings. Inside Venezuela, the response was defiant. Vice President Delcy Rodriguez, constitutionally next in line, was sworn in as interim president, rejecting the U.S. narrative and insisting that Maduro remained the legitimate leader of Venezuela. Rodriguez and Maduro-loyal officials denounced the U.S. action as an illegal abduction and violation of sovereignty, vowing continued resistance. International reactions varied widely. Latin American governments from Brazil to Colombia condemned the operation as a breach of international law, while others supported U.S. pressure on the Maduro regime. Regional organizations and African blocs likewise decried the capture as a threat to sovereignty and peace. Meanwhile, Maduro himself proclaimed in U.S. court that he was being held as a prisoner of war, insisting on his innocence and legitimacy as Venezuela's president. The U.S. strike and capture of a foreign president alarmed the world. Critics pointed out that the operation lacked approval from the United Nations Security Council or regional bodies, raising serious legal questions about unilateral military action and breaches of the UN Charter's prohibition on force without authorization. Scholars warned that such an unprecedented move could set a dangerous global precedent, encourage similar actions by other powerful states, and reshape the norms of sovereignty and international order. As January 2026 unfolds, who truly governs Venezuela? With Maduro in U.S. custody and Rodriguez claiming legitimacy, Venezuela's future leadership hangs in the balance. Will the international law system hold? Diplomats and jurists worldwide are grappling with whether this action redefines acceptable uses of force. Could this spark wider conflict or foster new alliances? With Russia, China, Latin American neighbors, and global powers reacting sharply, the geopolitical equilibrium in the Western Hemisphere is at a tipping point. The drama has only just begun, and its outcome may reshape sovereignty, international law, and power politics far beyond Venezuela. To watch the full video, click the link on our bio, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more interesting hidden historical fact. Want more stories like this? Hit like and subscribe so you don't miss any of our story, because this is just getting started.